All right, so we're going to talk about the shuffle. Now, let's start the shuffle from the ground up. Let's start it with the kick. So let's say our most basic shuffle, kick is on 1 and 3. Go ahead. Okay. We got the snare, and what we know is the backbeat is 2 and 4. And we have our choice of the cymbals. In this case, we could be using the hi-hats or the ride.
Everything else?
Yeah. Now let's talk about the hi-hats for a moment. Hi-hats in general used for when you got quieter moments, vocals, etc. Any other thoughts on when you will tend to use the hi-hats?
Oh, that's endless territory, really. But again, it's just kind of its own instrument over here. You have 2 cymbals, although it's referred just to the hi-hat. There's so many different dynamics to it, like a tight Jimmy Rogers style shuffle. You can keep it like really nice and tight. Some tracks, that's all you hear, is just a hat, not even a snare. But this is very important. Or if you want to kind of give it a little more body and open it up, and used in some shuffles with a little more moxie or even some jump blues stuff, you're gonna kind of have a flutter to it. Or if I know we're going with the shuffle right here, but there's just many different applications to the dynamic of the hi-hat.
Gotcha. Then we have the ride cymbal, our larger cymbal on your left, and that has this nice washing effect over the music. Let's give an example. Maybe start with the hi-hats and then move over to the ride so they can hear the difference.
Good idea. All right.
Something I've always liked too is just hitting the ride cymbal on quarter notes.
Yeah, that comes in really handy sometimes when there's a piano in the band. When there's more instruments happening, you can leave the groove more open by playing less notes, and it still grooves really good, really hard. So, you want a demonstration of that?
Yeah, go for it. Good. And that brings us into the double shuffle, and the double shuffle, basically thinking about doubling up the instruments instead of just having the timekeeping or the dominant 8th note shuffle pattern on the cymbals. We also have it on the snare. So let's give them an example of the double shuffle.
So you double shuffle the backbeat or just?
Sure. So we're talking about the backbeat, an emphasis on beats 2 and 4.
Okay.
So we have both those instruments that are keeping that shuffle rhythm. And from my knowledge, that tends to be the more common shuffle. When someone calls a shuffle, would that be the one that you would tend to go towards, if you didn't have a chance to hear it ahead of time?
Sometimes I'll really ask them to specify, because there's a big difference between that first shuffle we demonstrated, just a shuffle or a double shuffle. There's so many different types of shuffles. That's a double shuffle with a backbeat. There's double shuffles without a backbeat so much. Which I call a floater. Different people have different names for it, or a march, double shuffle,
So by not putting the backbeat on, you're basically making it more even-keeled. That's why you call it a floater?
Yeah. It really, if it's done correctly, it should provide a lot of lift to what's going on, and not anchor anything down so much. It's more of an implication, and then you can do double shuffles with an implied 2 and 4, whether that's the hat or...
Gotcha. Yeah, because I have heard some players talking about the 2 and the 4 really pulling it back. When guys say Chicago shuffle, a lot of times my opinion is it's because they're really whacking the heck out of beats 2 and 4. And I've heard Rod talk about how it has a feel of kind of pulling them back opposed to propelling them forward.
Yeah. It really depends on what's surrounding you, what everybody else is playing and what you're trying to create, If you want more of a floating, lifty kind of thing, or if you just want an ass kicker that's just like really, you're digging in and there's no guessing of where that 2 and 4 is.
Gotcha. So let's go ahead and do our shuffle where it was just on 2 and 4, and we'll just do kind of that Eddie Taylor thing we were doing before.
Sure.
Jump. Let's do that in G. Right? Is E better for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can move to E. Let's just do 4 measures of it. 1, 2, 3. Good. Now let's move to our double shuffle now.
Sure.
1, 2, 3. floater now where you're not emphasizing that 2 and 4.
All right.
1, 2, 3. Yeah, it definitely has a little bit more of a, there's a little bit more sonic space there. Interesting. So again, what I know of as a Chicago shuffle is where they're really whacking 2 and 4. So let's do our Chicago shuffle. Maybe move to our bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba. More of what we call a box groove. 1, 2, 3. All right. So talking about our shuffle grooves from the drum perspective, pretty straightforward on that one. On here we got that Eddie Taylor dum da dum da dum da dum. I mean that's a harmonica player's standard groove. Let's do that one more time. That chunk 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 1, 2 from the 1. Let's go ahead and move to the box, and we have the descending box, bum ba dun da dun da dun, root, octave, flat 7th, 5th. Let's double up on the guitar and the bass. 1, 2, 3. And we would call that a hook-based shuffle because we're basically playing a hook. You can also do that ascending. So we're going bum ba bum ba dum ba dum da 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, let's do something with some chord slides. So we have the drums doing the same thing, but we're changing what's happening on top of it. So something with chord slides. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Good. Yeah, so in this case, it's also very much hook-based, especially if you're repeating that. Right? So we have something, again, that's more hook-based for this approach. So let's talk about the lump. Dum, da, dum, da, dum, da, dum, where the bass, primarily it's the bass what makes this happen, is playing that shuffle 8th note pattern on the root notes. 1, 2, same key. Yeah, and I find that works quite effectively when you're doing one of these other shuffles. And then the bass, dum, da, dum, da, dum, is just...
Yeah, I mean, it can work either way because there's a lot of different variations where I can kind of mix the 2 or 3 different things together while keeping the basic idea of the lump.
It has a lot of power, a lot of driving force. I find that works quite well when the soloist is getting to reaching their climax of their solo section. That's nice.